As we're moving along through Chapter 2, Section 3 is going to increase the difficulty and the steps involved of solving equations. So we're still working with equal sign. We got multi-step equations, so that's 3 or more steps to figure out what the x or y or the variable is. So we're going to be solving by combining like terms. So the problem is solve 2 times what number plus the same number plus 12 is 78. That's going to look like this. 2 times what number plus the same number plus 12 is 78. So in order to simplify this and figure this out, what we need to do is simplify the left side. Imagine the equals and the 78 were just not there right now. Imagine they were gone. And I want you to imagine 2c plus c plus 12 is all we're doing, and you're simplifying. What would you do? You would combine like terms. 2c plus 1c is 3c. So now we have 3c plus 12 equals 78, and that's a two-step equation. So we go back to Chapter 2, Section 2, and look at how would we solve that. First, inverse operation, so subtract 12. And then we would divide each side by 3. So the answer is 22. So the question was 2 times what number plus the same number plus 12 is 78. That's 2 times 22 plus 22 plus 12 is 78. 2 times 22 is 44, plus 22 is 66, plus 12 is 78. So let's practice some of these. 3x minus 4x plus 6 equals negative 2. Negative 3z plus 8 plus negative 2z equals negative 12. And negative 2y plus 5y equals 14. Go ahead and pause it now, work through some of these problems, and we'll see if we get the same answer. Alright, take a minute to look at your problem and these problems and see if you made a mistake somewhere along the way. Try to find out where that mistake was. The first one should have been 8, the second should have been 4, and the third one, 3. So you try. Solve 7 is 4m minus 2m plus 1. Possible answers are 5, 3, negative 2, and 4/5. Similar problems are on page 91, numbers 1 through 9 all. We're also going to be working with grouping symbols. A lot of the time when we're working with systems of equations, we're going to be plugging things in and there's going to be parentheses. So with parentheses you have to distribute. So this is negative 2 times the quantity b minus 4 equals 12. So we're going to distribute that negative 2 and then simplify. Negative 2 times b is negative 2b. You have a minus sign. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. And then negative and negative is plus. So now it's a two-step equation. Subtract 8 on each side, and then divide each side by negative 2. You have negative 2 is your answer. That would be a common way to do it. But here's another way. If you have a number on the outside of a parenthesis, the outside of a quantity, you can get rid of it by division. You can divide first. Even though order of operations inverse is addition and subtraction first, the subtraction sign is inside this parenthesis. So you got to get rid of that thing first. So get rid of negative 2 by dividing. Now it's a one-step equation. Add 4 to both sides. The answer is negative 2. Notice how you have the same answer either way. So solve this one. 15 equals negative 3 times the quantity x minus 1 plus 9. Your answer is going to be the form x equals negative 1. So check out all the steps involved and see if you got the same answer or not. And see why you got a different answer if you did. So it's your turn. 3 times the quantity k plus 8 is 21. Find out what k is. Possible answers are negative 1, 1, 13 over 3, and 15. More problems like this are on page 91, numbers 12 through 20. Multi-step equation word problems. So we have an actual situation, and this is where we have to make the connection between real life and what we're learning about making symbols and numbers. We have a situation where we need to figure something out, and we're talking about a gardener. You need to have problem-solving skills to be able to convert this thing that we have, all these words, into those symbols. So we need to make that connection. His garden will be next to an existing 12-foot fence. So basically the 12-foot fence makes up one of the widths of his rectangle. The gardener has a total of 44 feet of fencing to build the other 3 sides of his garden. How long will the garden be if the width is 12 feet? So here's his garden. On one side, he's got an existing 12-foot fence. So in class, you would have done this, but we'll go through this together. We need to create an equation that represents all this information. We know that this side is also going to be 12 foot because we're using this 12-foot fence to help us out. So we have 12 feet plus whatever the length is, plus the length again, equals 144. Because we're going to use all 44 feet of fencing. So it's going to be 12 plus the length again equals 144. And then, just 44. And then to solve this, we're going to combine like terms. And then we're going to solve. I keep putting 1 there. The length is 16. A carpenter is building a rectangular fence for a playground. One side of the playground is the wall of the building that is 70 feet wide. He plans to use 340 feet of fencing material. Write an equation and find the length of the playground. Possible answers are x plus 70 equals 340, or x plus 70 plus x plus 70 equals 340, 70x plus 70x equals 340, or x plus 70 plus x equals 340. And solutions are on the right. Make sure you paused, but if you have the solution, then more problems like that are on page 91, numbers 10 and 11. And that's it for Chapter 2, Section 3, Solving Multi-Step Equations.